So you're at Four Seas in Las Vegas, and there's all these people milling around, and one says to the other, you know what's been on my mind a lot lately is all of these questions about copyright. I never have any idea what intellectual property laws are, how I'm supposed to apply that to the classroom, to my scholarship. And as they walk along, the other one says, you know what, and that reminds me, I've been having a lot of trouble with plagiarists lately. I really don't know how to handle that, how to teach plagiarism. It seems like a complicated thing, how to use sources, but how do you do that in a good way? And as they walk along, the other one says, yeah, and what it really comes down to me is that legal issue. I know the law is different than academic citation guidelines, but how exactly? And as they go along into the next room, one of them says, you know what, and I wish I had a community of people who would give me a helping hand to help me learn some of these issues, and maybe even help me get involved so I can be a force for good. And both of them think, you know what, it's so sad that there is nothing at Four Seas that will help us with these issues. And then suddenly, as if invoked by some sort of fairy dust, Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise appears. Who would have thought? And he says, you know what? Everything you're asking for is right in that room where it says IP Caucus. IP stands for intellectual property. So why don't you go in there, meet some people, see how it happens. It's 2 o'clock on Wednesday. You don't have anything else to do. Might as well give it a shot. So they're like, well, I guess that sounds like a pretty good idea. So let's go check it out. Okay, well, no, wait a minute. You might be thinking, Captain Kirk is owned by Paramount Pictures, and I don't think that he would like the use of him in this video. But, he's a pretty smooth talker, so if he showed up here, he might be like, you know what, Paramount Mountain, I actually know my fair use law pretty well, and I know that there's actually a 4-point test to decide if the use of a copyrighted work is fair. It has to do with if the work is transformative, what the nature of that copyrighted work is, how much is taken, and what the effect on the potential market is. So, Paramount, says Captain Kirk, let's think that through for a second. Is the use of this image of Kirk right here transformative? I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because it's being used to critique this whole issue of copyright. It's being used not just as to add flavor to this video, even though it does add some considerable flavor, but also as an important statement about the use of copyrighted works in general. Yes, it's transformative. Now, what's the nature of the copyrighted work? Well, because the Star Trek series is actually a creative work, not a non-fictional or academic work, that actually speaks against the fair use of this a little bit in this case. But let's look at the next 2 features here. How much was taken? Well, only a little bit, only the amount that I needed. So that's pretty good here. And no one is going to look at this picture of Jim Kirk and never go and spend money on Star Trek things again. So we're going to say that this is leaning towards fair. Great. Okay, now that that parentheses is dealt with, in case you were really wondering, our friends have walked into the IP Caucus. Look at all these friendly people they met. And they're like, you know what? I think I've met some of these people before, or I've seen them at least, because there was a recent Kairos piece that had interviews with these members of the IP Caucus. And the other one says, you know what? And I think I've even read a couple of books that were edited by and had lots of articles by some of these people. So this is clearly a group of people that knows what they're talking about. That is awesome. And the other one says, you know what? I've even seen on the Four Seas website, there's IP reports from the IP committee that are regularly emailed out in the NCT inbox. And you know what? I even think on that website I saw an invitation to join the Intellectual Property Caucus right here at this meeting. It's so funny. I saw that and I didn't put it together until now, until this video kind of hammered it home into my head. That's so awesome. So all of the friendly people there actually laid out the red carpet for them when they showed up because they were that nice. But you know what? There's still that question. What exactly is the Intellectual Property Caucus? What does this group even do? Well, the first thing to understand is that there's an official Four Seas IP committee. It's an official committee that has, goes to meetings and does all those important things. It doesn't matter right now. The caucus is the public-facing group that is connected with the IP committee. Many of the same people are on in the same groups, though not always. And the caucus is where you're invited to come talk to other people and come up with some action items that often will be funneled into the larger Four Seas organization through the committee. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe it does. But more specifically, there's that question of what exactly did we talk about here? Well, first, we're interested in issues of copyright and intellectual property, broadly understood. We're also interested in things like open source software, open access for scholarly works. We think that's really important. We're also interested in, on the student side, things like online privacy, issues of giant corporations harvesting data in ways that are sometimes unethical, and students' rights in the midst of all of this. We're so interested in fair use, in championing fair use rights because it's the law, for goodness sakes, and helping other people understand how they can use fair use in the classroom. We're also interested in teaching people, like students and other faculty, how to understand all this complicated stuff around intellectual property, never to villainize people who mess up, but to always make that an educational opportunity. Finally, we're so interested in taking action. In fact, at this IP Caucus meeting in Las Vegas in 2013, there will be 4 action tables that are specifically there to encourage people to sit around and come up with actionable items that can be worked on either immediately right away or over the next few months after people head back home. That's great. And you know what? We all want you to join us. You might have been able to tell that was kind of the point of all this video, right? This is cool stuff. Let's come talk about it. Let's understand it together. It's complicated sometimes, but with a community, we can do it. So after it's all over, the 2 friends say, you know what? This was the best time ever. I can't believe the things we learned. I can't believe this new community of people we've come together with. I can't believe that we were involved with these great action items. If only we could go back in time to tell some of our other friends about it so they would come to the caucus too. And all of a sudden, out of the darkness, a voice said, "Did someone say back in time?" And who knows, Captain Kirk appeared again and said, you know what, I can take you back in time so you can tell all your friends. And they're like, that sounds awesome. Let's disappear and do it. So, you know, it's 5:30 when the whole thing ends, you know, but, you know, sometimes a little earlier, but, you know, around 5:30. And all of a sudden the clock starts going backwards. And backwards. And backwards. And then all those people who were there at the beginning are there, and our 2 friends appear magically again, and they say, oh my goodness, the IP Caucus is so great, will you come with us? I just want to go experience it over and over again in some kind of crazy never-ending time loop. And they're all like, sure, that sounds great, and they rush off. So this is an invitation to you to come hang out with us, talk about all of these issues. If you're like, I still need a little more information, this is a really fast video and I don't like Captain Kirk, we'll go to this website. It'll give you that invitation that I showed earlier, along with a lot more details, including who to contact.